It was really special bringing Zach home from the hospital and adjusting to that newborn phase again. But then suddenly things changed. Within 24 hours of being completely well, he started having difficulty breathing. Breathing fast, but also having tracheal tug, where the bottom of the neck actually sucks in, and he also had sort of caving in of his chest. I watched him really closely overnight for about 6 hours, and that's when, after a bit of time, I realised he can't keep this up in terms of struggling to breathe. So as soon as we got to hospital, he was then whisked into the resuscitation bay and immediately surrounded by nurses and started on oxygen. So normally in conditions like RSV, where a child develops bronchiolitis, which is inflammation of the small airways, we know that the disease often worsens at day 3. Zach continued to work really hard to breathe and was really struggling. So at that stage, they suggested that we get flown down to Sydney to the Children's Intensive Care Unit. I think at this point, I was probably just in survival mode and just needed to get down to Sydney and be with Zach. When we arrived at the Children's Intensive Care Unit, there was an entire row of children with RSV, and Zach was the youngest of all of them. After spending 5 days in the Children's Intensive Care Unit, he was transferred to the ward where he was there for another 7 days down in Sydney. We were then transferred with the Royal Flying Doctor Service back home to Orange. RSV definitely changed our world. Back in 2024, I didn't even know there was an RSV immunisation, as it hadn't been fully rolled out for mums like myself. What I tell my friends and other mums now is that whilst RSV is mostly mild, it can cause really severe disease, and that now there's an immunisation that's available for pregnant mothers as well as infants. And so why wouldn't we want to offer that protection to our babies if we can?